Good afternoon, YouTubers. Well, I've been really impressed actually with electric air guns. I didn't know there was such a thing. You know, it's I've never owned one. Like I say, I've picked up this MP18 the other day, which was is electric, and I thought, well, how does an electric air gun work? I've got no idea. So I've been doing some research and looking into things, and it's actually quite clever how they do it. Now, as you know, with the old air gun that we used to have when we were children, was air gun enthusiasts, it was brake barrel, wasn't it? And the barrel was the lever to cock the spring. Yeah, put your pellet in, clunk, back it goes, and you're ready to go. Just pull the trigger, and the spring pushes the piston forward. And basically, what you've got is a bicycle pump. I mean, I'm sure we've all taken bicycle pumps apart as kids, and we've all had one for our bicycles at some time. This is one with the hose on it that goes onto car. You can pump car tyres up with this one, but basically it's a piston in a tube, isn't it? And it blows air out of this end. So with your conventional air rifle, you cocked it and the thing locked back, okay? And then when you pull the trigger, the spring would ram that forward so fast that it would blow the pellet clean out the barrel and off and away. And that was it. That's how air guns work. It's not rocket science, it's quite straightforward. But then someone must have come up with the idea somewhere along the line, well, this is a bit of a pain having to cock it every time and put another pellet in it. And some genius, got an electric motor and stuck it in with some gears on it. So when you fire it, bang, it goes and cocks itself. And then you're ready to go again. So you pull the trigger, it fires, and then it goes and cocks itself again. And that is actually really clever. I've actually looked into videos and stuff and learned about it, and it's incredible. And you can even flick it to fully auto. Don't forget, they got a big feeder on the front there with a load of plastic balls, Airsoft. And you can hold the trigger back and it'll just go and just keep firing. And you can have like, well, that one I've got has got 130 balls in the magazine, but some of them hold more than that. And everyone that goes airsofting seems to have some variants of the M16, the M4, or the AK-47, and it's all the same. It's all the same motor pumping this cylinder backwards and forwards and spewing balls out. And I've looked into it in even greater detail, and there's apparently several different springs that you can put in there, because obviously if you put a more powerful spring in the piston, it will ram the piston forward faster, which will means it can produce that pressure quicker. And potentially it will make your ball go faster and go further away. And they measure it all, obviously, with this chronograph, so many feet per second. But because Airsoft is one of these sports where you actually set out to shoot each other with these plastic balls, they're very, very light. Plastic balls are about 0.2 of a gram. I think the heaviest are the steel ones, but they don't allow the steel ones. So they stick to like the lightweight balls. And they test all the guns with the chronograph before you go on to the firing area, because some sensors say no, you can't fire at more than 400 feet per second, for example. I mean, this is not something that's going to penetrate the human body. Obviously, you've got to wear eye protection, but for example, a 9mm pistol would probably have a muzzle velocity of somewhere in the region of 1100 feet per second, and that will kill people up close, okay? But an airsoft gun, no, not a chance. It will bounce off, it'll sting, it'll leave a mark on your skin for sure. So if you're running around in a t-shirt getting shot at with an airsoft gun at relatively close range. But then you've got all these people who think, right, I'm going to upgrade and make my air gun more powerful. So I'm going to get a better spring, more powerful spring. Apparently you can get up to a 150 spring. Springs vary in size depending on, and some of the units, some of the guns, you are able to take the spring out from the back of the piston and put a different one in. So you can put a more powerful one in, you can whip it out, you can put a weaker one in, because if you go into an airsoft centre that says no more than 350 feet per second, you think, oh, right, I've got to put my wheelier spring in there, so you can swap them around. The older gearboxes, you had to take them apart and all the cogs fell out, and you've got to be there messing around trying to change the spring, which is a bit more of a faff. And if you've got one of those older gearboxes, then don't bother changing the spring. That's my advice. But you get these people who insist on getting a better spring, putting a more powerful spring in the gun, make the gun more powerful, and they focus on making it more accurate, so they're going to change the barrel out. What you're doing is you're firing a ball down a smoothbore barrel, okay? So you're never ever going to have any accuracy. You can put a bit of spin on it with the hopper, but the ball is never going to be like a rifled barrel bullet or a pellet coming out of a barrel, because a smoothbore barrel, they're not bad accuracy wise, but they just don't do it. And a very light ball will catch the wind as well and it'll be off. So your accuracy is never going to be as good as a rifled barrel with a lead pellet or a metal aluminium. People use aluminium and people use resin pellets and all kinds of madness. But what a great idea, the electric guns, the electric ones. And of course, another problem is, you see, if you put a more powerful spring in, you might have to put, because you've more strain on the motor, isn't it? And you've got the cogs, there's about 3 cogs inside the gearbox that recocks the gun, and they might not be up to it. You might have to upgrade them as well. And then the motor itself, I'm told the motor can burn out because it's not designed to recock a spring that powerful. So after about 1,000 shots, your motor's burned out. So you've got to get an upgraded motor as well. And if you went for a barrel which was a tighter bore, you know, maybe these are all minute things. I mean, people have sat there with chronographs and they've been working out who's got the barrel lengths. If you have over a 500 millimeter barrel, you start losing performance or something like that. So they're trying to find the optimum length for a barrel, because the ball will start getting friction and slowing down as it reaches the end of the barrel. So the barrel has to be short, but not too short. And I mean, you can go into it in great details, but I don't think it's worth bothering, honestly. If you've got one, just go and play with it. Don't mess with it. That's my advice. I mean, for the extra money that you're going to spend, and the, I mean, I'm no expert. I'm not an airsofter. I mean, you'd have to go and, but you see these kids getting all enthusiastic about how they've improved this and how they've improved that. They've probably spent more money than they spent on the gun in the first place, and it may just be slightly more. I mean, for what you're going to gain, you will obviously gain some advantage, but is it worth it for all the hassle? I don't think so. That's my opinion at the moment. That my opinion may change, of course, if I get more knowledge on the subject. But I mean, just my initial weighing it up, I think for what it does, it's great. I mean, if you want more power, you've got to go for a steel BB, I think, because that won't drift off, because that weighs nearly 1 gram, just under 1 gram. So that will not blow in the wind as easily as a much more lightweight. But they won't go as far because they're heavier, you know. So you've got all these things to take into account, and obviously you don't want to use a steel ball bearing if you go and shooting each other at an airsoft centre, because you know they will hurt more. And I used to do a lot of paintball, and trust me, paintballs hurt. When you get hit with a paintball, that hurts, and it'll leave a bruise on your skin. A nasty bruise, nasty big purple bruise that's there for over a week. So, I mean, even airsoft guns, you get shot with an airsoft gun, that'll leave a bruise. But not as big as a paintball. Paintball's enormous compared, it's like a marble, size of a marble. Whereas airsoft's only like 6mm, isn't it? But all these fancy upgrades, I don't think they're worth it. I honestly don't think at the moment, without going into it in heaviest detail. But what a brilliant idea with having an electric motor. To obviously you need the battery as well, so the battery goes in there. So you've got the battery, the motor, the gearbox, and the piston. But what a brilliant idea that someone came up with. 10 out of 10. Buy that man a cigar. Now the other kind of gun I've never talked about because I've never had one is a PCP. And that is air gun again, but it's got an air tank that you need to have a compressor to fill the tank with air. Because I buy the CO2 capsules and pop them in. And of course when they're out there, they're disposable. You throw them away and put a new one in. And it lasts as long as it lasts. But the PCP is an air tank that will last a lot longer. And you can fire a lot more with it. And they're the sort of top of the range of the airgun world, and I haven't got as far as that yet. I'm still on electric airguns. So, happy hunting.